Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy, back from my hiatus, my little mini vacation after uploading my 400th video. I took a little break, decided to relax and also do some research for future videos, one of which is going to be today. I'm officially coming back, and today I figured I would talk about something a little more serious, but that's still going to be included in my mixer playlist because it is kind of a varied topic. I feel good today, it's a nice day, it's nice and silent, it's sunny, so a lot of good lighting. I shaved. In case you guys don't know, I look like a little kid, don't I? Whenever I shave, people say that I look 10 years younger than I actually am, Then again, when I don't shave and my beard fully grows out, they say that I look 10 years older. But anyway, my face kind of itches actually because I literally just finished shaving. Rub some moisturizer in there, I'm getting away from the topic. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and it is a very tender topic. It is one that is very difficult to talk about if you don't find the right words to use in the right context, but this video is going to follow the same formula as my other mixer videos, where I'm going to give you guys some information, and also give you my personal insights about the topic itself, Now, the COVID is something that obviously affected much poorer countries, than the ones that are actually more well equipped to deal with something like this. And even so, even places like the United States, which has historically been known to be able to contain and deal with epidemics like this, has suffered many casualties. And as of right now, as of recording this video, I have my little cheat sheet here on my tablet. I use this for all of my videos now for more information. As of this month, April 2021, there have been more than 134 million cases of the coronavirus, that are completely confirmed, with more than 2.91 million deaths due to it, And it is right now, at the time of recording this video, I think it's been this way for a while actually, the deadliest pandemic in human history, And it all started, it originated back in Wuhan, China, It is, it's actually called the... Okay, I would never have been able to memorize this, okay? The COVID-19 was caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, or the SARS-CoV-2, and it was first identified back in China. And it was already like in late 2019, early 2020, we kind of already had a bad feeling about it, and the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern. That is one hell of a tongue twister, regarding the virus on January 30th, 2020, and then later declared a pandemic on March 11th. So it is, and actually you guys might actually be able to see it here. Let's see if I can show you the photo. This is a graph right here, if you guys can see it, of the confirmed deaths per 1 billion population as of March 7th. So let me see if I can give you guys a little better view of it here. This is the map that shows exactly that. Can you guys see it? Okay, so the number of confirmed cases, all over the world. And now we have an even worse one. This is the percentage of, what I just showed you guys are the confirmed deaths, And there's, if you guys can see it, there's whenever it's, let me show you again because that was badly phrased. Wherever you guys see the dark blue, like here in South America, for example, there have been more than 1,000 deaths, So it's pretty freaking crazy. This next one that I'm going to show you guys is the percentage of the population confirmed infected as of April 4th, early this month. So where you guys see dark red is over than 10%, that is the highest. That's the highest grade. So wherever it's dark red is more than 10% of the population infected with the COVID. You guys can see it? Yeah, so it's a pretty crazy thing, man. It is a pretty crazy thing, and oh boy, it's intense. It is intense. There's a lot of information. The source of it was likely bats, because the Chinese love to eat these kinds of weird things, and unfortunately it's led to a lot of xenophobia across the world, especially in the United States. I recorded another video talking about that some time ago, like hoping to spread the idea of stopping Asian hate, but that's a different topic that I already covered then, so let's just move on. Let's talk about the symptoms of the virus itself. They are actually highly variable, ranging from non to life-threatening illnesses. The virus spreads mainly through the air when people are near each other, so that's why we have the whole social distancing, wear masks thing, and it leaves an infected person as they breathe, cough, sneeze, or speak, and enters another person via their mouth, nose, or their eyes. And it can also spread through contaminated surfaces, so you gotta be a little bit of a clean freak to also try to avoid it. And people remain contagious for up to 2 weeks and can spread the virus even if they are asymptomatic. I'm guessing that means that they don't have the symptoms. Now, recommended preventive measures include social distancing, wearing face masks, ventilation and air filtering, hand washing, covering your mouth when sneezing or coughing, disinfecting surfaces, and monitoring and self-isolation for people exposed or symptomatic. I don't know how to say this word. There have been several vaccines already, and some are starting to be distributed. There is a vaccine here in Brazil already, even though our president for some reason doesn't approve of it because he's an idiot. But anyway, so we have treatments that are focusing on addressing symptoms, but work is underway to develop therapeutic drugs that also inhibit the virus. And we have there have been a lot of different, I don't even need to read this part because it's pretty obvious, but around the world, different countries have had different measures of trying to prevent the virus from spreading by giving us lockdowns, and making us quarantine and then stay at home. Of course, there are people who don't really care. They go outside anyway, even with masks, some without masks, 2 examples of countries that really don't give a crap about the virus is Brazil, where I live right now, and the United States, where I grew up, So just so you guys don't just so my fellow Brazilians don't accuse me of fanboying over the United States, right? They're just as bad as us here, My neighbors, for example, luckily they don't speak English, so they can't even understand what I'm saying if they can hear me. They're a bunch of douches who, they partied so much throughout the quarantine. There was 2 occasions where they had a lot of people over with loud music and nobody was wearing masks. People were drinking and getting crazy, So, it's a country that doesn't really respect the rules too much, And me, for example, I have been quarantining so hard, And the workplace that the place that I work at recently opened, and I go because I have to work, but I work with a mask, I'm a teacher and I teach my students with the mask on, and everyone comes to class with their masks, And I don't really have a choice, man. If I'm given the choice to work or stay home, I will always work because I have to pay my bills. I need a steady income, And it's already hard for me to make any money with what I'm doing right now. Anyway, but whenever I come home from work, I stay home, If I want to visit my parents, for example, I go with a mask. I come back with a mask, So I try to do it as correctly as possible, social distancing and wearing a mask and everything that the government tells me to do, And I'm actually okay staying at home, I spent many months at home without a job, receiving just the government emergency money, And that's when my channel started to flourish. That's actually when I started my second channel too. It was during quarantine, But it gets to a point where eventually you kind of feel like you have to leave, even if you're wearing a mask, just go outside for a jog or something, or visit a friend, just one friend, try to keep no more than 3 people in one place, But the point is that these lockdowns, these workplace hazard controls, all of these things are to protect us, to try to make us get through this situation faster. Countries like Japan and South Korea are very good examples. Asia in general, even though that's where the virus started, was born and proliferated out of control, people there are much better off than anywhere else in the world, because they actually know how to do it. And Japan has been actually doing this for years because they've always had the face masks, for when people are sick and they don't want to transmit their diseases in public, So they already knew what was going to happen. They already knew it. And I don't know if you guys can feel free to fact check me on this, but I don't know if Japan has a very high death rate from the virus. Of course, a lot of the elderly may have fallen victim to it, but I still think that they probably have a less casualty rate than the United States or Brazil, for example, because they really took it seriously. And they almost isolated the virus completely, except for when there was a new variant discovered somewhere there, but that's just the topic for another day. Now, of course, the pandemic has resulted in global issues, a lot of social and economic disruption, some of which I'm going to read for you guys here because I couldn't memorize it. So this right now, what we're going through is the largest global recession ever since the Great Depression, way back in the 30s or 40s, Now, it has led to widespread supply shortages exhibited by panic buying, agricultural disruption, and food shortages. So it's basically like people going to supermarkets and just buying as much as they can. There was actually this thing some time time ago that actually became a meme, you know, where people were buying toilet paper out the wazoo and nobody understood why. It's like, okay, so you have enough food, like you think you've got enough food and water and medical supplies, you know, but what you are most afraid of running out is toilet paper. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, here in Brazil it was the same thing. I think people were more concerned with their asses than freaking, you know, like, I guess they were more concerned with what they were putting into their mouths than what was coming out of their asses, but whatever, literally. But anyway, so here's the thing. And then we have this decreased emissions of pollutants and greenhouse gases. I don't know what the hell that means, but a lot of educational institutions, so schools, colleges, professional courses, and other public areas that were partially or fully closed, and many events were canceled, postponed, but that's already pretty obvious. We already know how that works, you know. And here's the thing, guys. This pandemic has also raised issues of racial and geographic discrimination, high equity, and the balance between public health imperatives and individual rights, you know. You guys can, of course, read a lot more about it, you know, and depending on the articles that you look at. But now I'm going to, because I spend a considerable amount of time giving you guys information about it, I'm going to start sharing my personal opinions now towards the end here. What I think is that this is a lesson for all of us. You know, I think that the coronavirus is, for our generation who are currently living through it, you know, it is a hell of a story to tell our children one day, you know, the next generation. But I also, like, obviously it is going to end one day. Like, nothing lasts forever, you know. This has been going on now for about a year, you know, and I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't be surprised if it's still going on for the next year, you know, but I'm sure it is going to end at some point, guys. You know, every pandemic, every disaster, everything that we as humans have faced ended. You know, like the effects of certain, like for example, world wars, you know, the effects of certain conflicts are still felt today. The consequences, we are still suffering them today, you know, and the lessons that we learn, we can still apply today, but everything does eventually end. You know, this COVID situation will eventually come to an end, but I'm so sure that humanity will have changed so much afterwards, you know, because a lot of people took what they had for granted. I myself was one of them. I can admit I used to work in a very good job and make a lot of money right before the virus hit, you know, and I was let go. Everybody was let go, you know, and I used to squander my money. I used to buy a bunch of stuff that I wanted, you know, and things that I really didn't need, to be honest, you know. I would just literally just waste my money and throw it away. But then I stopped having it, you know. Then I was limited to just the money that the government was providing me with, you know, and trying to make my way through, you know, trying to pay all of my bills, and there was no money left over for anything, you know, and it was driving me crazy, and it almost drove me to depression again, you know. So I mean, it was a lesson for me personally, as I'm sure a lot of other people also learned from it, you know, because it was a true lesson of humility, you know. It was showing us that we as humans just suck. You know, we are not in control of this planet, you know, because all it took was a pandemic, you know, to shut everything down for a couple of months, and all of a sudden we were turning into animals, you know. We were going crazy, and people were making jokes about it just to just, I don't know, try to look at the bright side. You know, people died from it. Companies, they shut down for good, you know. They went bankrupt, and it was crazy, you know, because it completely turned the planet upside down, you know. Entire economies collapsed in countries, you know, and it was, I mean, I could go on and on and on. You know, there were so many different effects because of this virus, and I honestly think that, as morbid as this may be to say, I actually think it was a good thing. Let me explain why. It is my personal opinion that this entire pandemic was a huge and very loud wake-up call for humanity. You know, it was a way to teach us a lesson, you know, like be alert and actually value what you have, you know. People who had a lot of money and success, you know, of course there are certain people who didn't stop having, you know, like YouTubers, for example, not the ones like me, but the ones who actually make money with this, you know, millions of dollars, you know. They actually proliferate, you know, because people stayed home quarantining, watching their content, you know, so they were pretty okay. Actors in Hollywood, I guess it depends on the kind of level you're at, you know. They weren't making movies, you know, but they still had a lot of money. But the point is, guys, that if you are the kind of person who made money and stopped making it because of the corona epidemic, you know what it's like now, you know. So you know what it's like to have to save up and pay your bills, and if there's anything left, you can try to enjoy yourself, you know. That's how it works, and it is exactly what happened to me, you know. And this is just a personal experience from just one person, you know, and I really don't know like when this is gonna end, but I think that when it does, we are going to really recover from this with positivity, you know, because to me it is a lesson learned. It is something that put us on at the edge of our seats. We're on high alert now, and hopefully the Chinese also learned a thing or two, you know, stop eating everything that moves, for the love of God, you know. So I think that it is a cautionary tale for the future generations. You know, people are going to look back on this pandemic and see, okay, we have to be careful now so that doesn't happen again, you know. And of course there are many people who blame the Chinese for, and like, yes, it is like, you can't blame the entire Chinese culture, the billions of people there, for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people who ate a bat and then it spread, you know. We can of course pin this on just one person, but it is completely unfair for you to blame the entire Chinese population, or even worse, the entire Asian community, you know, for this happening. You know, to me, you're just stupid if you practice xenophobia and racism and hate crimes because of this, you know. Well, I mean, yes, it's not China that's responsible for the virus. It was one specific Chinese person or a group of Chinese people who tried to eat a bat and then this happened, you know. And I'm pretty sure that there are more different kinds of viruses out there, guys. COVID isn't the worst one. I'm pretty sure that there is something even worse in another animal that if somebody tries to eat and repeats the cycle, but now the virus is going to kill people outright, you know? It can always get worse. So despite everything that's happened because of this virus, I still think we as humans should count our blessings, because it could have been much worse, you know? There is nothing bad enough that it can't get worse, you know? Whenever you think something has hit its peak, it can always be worse, you know? So, you know, guys, I mean, obviously it is a very tragic event, you know, that took the lives of so many people, a lot of elderly, you know. So, and I have seen firsthand here that the government in my country pretty much hates us, you know. They're always opening and closing everything, you know, and I don't know, it's like they're very indecisive, you know, and they're actually, I don't know how it is over there in the United States or Europe, but here in Brazil, the prices of everything are going up, you know, like people are raising the prices of things in supermarkets, man, even though they know that we're not working because of the virus, you know, and the economy is just out of whack here, you know. It doesn't make sense for you to raise the price because you don't want to lose money, but we don't have any money to spend, so if you lower the price, maybe we can even buy more products, you know, and keep making you money, but that's just the way I think. But anyway, I've been rambling on for long enough, you know. I think the video, it's starting to get a little bit out of control. I'm talking about too much of my personal side, but that's just it, guys. Can humanity ever recover from the coronavirus? Short answer, yes, I think we can. If we just keep banding together to do social distancing, wear masks if we have to leave. Try not to leave as much as we can, but if we do, wear the masks, you know. Try not to have too many people in one place, you know. It's just, I think me, for example, I'm a teacher, and a lot of my students are online, you know, in a different city, you know, we have virtual classes, so it doesn't really affect us too much. So let's just try to follow the rules and regulations as much as we can, and I promise you we will get through this very soon, okay? And that's it for today, guys, all right? I'm going to be signing out now, and I'm going to be premiering an all-new end screen, my new outro here that I worked so hard to make. It looks so good. I hope you guys like it. Actually didn't work hard at all. I just kind of just took it from somebody else who gave it to me. But anyways, it's like I still hope you guys enjoy it, because I did have to tweak it a little bit, so it did take a little bit of work. I hope you guys enjoyed. So take a look. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video, and feast your eyes on my new outro screen.